are we talking, sir?
15, 20 feet.
So literally just next to the shoulder then.
Right, but
A lawn mowing crew just found a bag with a foul odor, a black trash bag. Breaking news. It might be her body. They don't know yet. They have not confirmed that they found her body in Arkansas yet. But a lawn mowing crew just found a black bag.
this egg here is exit 18.
What is the next step? Obviously, you're going to cordon off the scene. Tell us what you and your partner agencies at State Police and the FBI are going to do from here on out then.
Well, state police and FBI is going to gather evidence, if any, and determine what is located in that bag, and then they will get in touch with the Houston authorities.
Have you or any other investigator actually opened the bag yet, Sheriff?
I don't want to comment on that right now.
Was it just coincidence they were mowing again today and the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with the guy that just asked that question.
That they were mowing that stretch of roadway today.
Well, they were mowing about 3 days ago. Apparently, it's been out here for about 3 days. That's what the road crew is telling me.
Okay, wait a minute.
The bag's been out there for 3
Yeah, I'm not understanding.
And no one picked it up earlier.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Sheriff. My name's Reka with KW11 News. No one picked up the bag. They just saw the bag and left it on the side of the road.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And so, can you see? Does it appear, Sheriff, that there are remains inside that bag, or is it?
I don't want to comment right now until we can, till they can do the forensic test and all that needs to be done.
Let me ask you.
Determine what it is. You know, often sometimes people will put dead animals or something in a trash bag, throw them on the side of the interstate or something, and we want to make sure it's not something like that.
And so at this point, you don't have a degree of confidence one way or the other whether or not this bag contains the missing Maleah Davis.
Well, we don't really know right at this time, but we're hoping we can get some answers here in just a little while.
Sheriff, let me ask you this. The initial tip from Houston police, or from the suspect in this, was that he dumped the trash bag somewhere, the first exit near Hope, which would have been exit 30, about 12 miles northeast. So given that, what do you make of that discrepancy, sir?
Well, this would be the first exit after you cross the Red River to go to Hope on Highway 67. But it's not the Hope exit. So that's
Mistake.
that's why we moved down here.
So it could be just.
Nothing in the search at 31 turned up anything.
As well as exit 30, closer into town. Okay.
Right.
3 days
I
ago,
meant
the
to
first
say
day was
exit
not,
30.
not the first day was there. Right? I mean, doesn't know when.
So 3 days ago was the first sighting of this bag.
Well, that's what the road crew's telling us. I hadn't had a chance to talk with the guy that found it yet, but
Right.
state police interviewed him.
So this is very active.
Hold on 1 second.
You bet.
Hold on.
For those of you just joining us, we have Sheriff James Singleton on the phone. He's the sheriff of the Hempstead County, Arkansas Sheriff's Department, who we've been speaking with throughout the morning and into the afternoon. The initial search for Maleah Davis. Hang on. Yes, Sheriff. Sorry, Reka and rest. The sheriff's obviously tending to his police duties
Absolutely.
here. But this obviously could be a break in developments here. We just don't know as the sheriff.
I was just trying to figure out the timeline.
Okay, I got a little bit more information here from you.
Okay, please go right ahead, Sheriff.
Alright. They sent a litter crew to pick up, before they mow this side of the thing. So about 3 days ago, the litter crew came through, noticed a trash bag with blood on it, and worms on the bag. And the supervisor of worker told them just leave it alone. And then today, when they came back,
Sheriff. Anything else you can add? Obviously, this is a very active scene here, and what could be the final chapter in this tragic case. We just don't know yet. As you mentioned, you have Arkansas State Police as well as the FBI on scene, correct, sir?
That is correct. That is correct, and we're hoping to maybe give some answers to y'all and to the family maybe here in a little bit.
Well, Sheriff, thank you so very much. We'll let you get back to your work. We appreciate your good work and that of your men and women of the Hempstead County Sheriff's Department. It's certainly been a sad chapter and a sad story to cover, and everybody's wanting some closure. If you confirm, sir, can you kindly let me know?
Yes, sir. I'll be glad to.
Very good, then. We'll let you go. Thank you again.
All right, goodbye.
Again, Sheriff James Singleton, Hempstead County Sheriff, and let's recap, Russ and Rachel, what we learned from the sheriff.
Well, he is on scene there now in Fulton, Arkansas, a town just about 200 and about 12 miles from the original search area near Hope, where he said they found nothing. Looking for that plastic, that black bag trash bag where Maleah's body may be. But apparently it was a mowing crew, a litter crew, 3 days ago that noticed a bag along the side of the road and called into the boss.
And if they clean it up, why they didn't pick up the
He
bag?
said that the bag had a foul smell and that there was blood on it, but they left it at that scene. They went back out today. He said one of the,
the mowers
hit the bag. And so that was, but again, until I guess they were alerted about the search, did they not realize that this might be something?
Thank
more?
you. I'm saying the same
He
thing, ma'am.
that look, he would not say whether he looked inside the bag. He declined to comment on if he had seen what was inside the bag, but it did say it had foul odor. But also did mention that sometimes people will take dead animals and throw them out on the side of the road. That is not uncommon in that area. So that is also something to consider.
These are live pictures we're seeing from a CBS sister station we have. The sheriff also mentioned that the bag was located about 10 to 15 feet from the side of the road that you're looking at, and that right now they've cordoned off about a 10 to 15 square yard area.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if that bush hog, as he described it, that mowing machine ran over this trash bag, you may have some scattering of any remains. Difficult to talk about indeed.
Right.
But obviously, again, you have the county sheriff's units out there. You have the Arkansas State Police as well as the FBI. So local, state, and federal investigators now surrounding what is an active crime scene, and crime scene forensic investigators also on scene.
Yep, and then they'll be able to, figure out, I would imagine, fairly quickly if this is human or animal. Or they can do that pretty quickly. My question until then would be, the litter crew spotted the bag 3 days ago.
3 days.
The last time that litter crew was through that area.
That was so petty.
Could the bag have been there a month? Or was it just there maybe 3 or 4 days? It's impossible to know without knowing the last time they came through looking for trash.
And the other, perhaps you would call it an inconsistency or discrepancy from the original information, is that the trash bag was dumped at exit 30, the first exit off of I-30 in Hope, Arkansas.
So what
and this was 12 miles south to the south.
They're taking off to go
or people who are joining us on
to Arkansas now.
On the left is the scene in Arkansas. On the right, we were watching that plane take off with Tim Miller with EquiSearch. At last check, we were told that Quan Alex was also on the plane, including an investigator from Houston. So it looks like the plane is about to take off. And they should be arriving in about an hour. Is that correct?
A little over an hour is what Tim Miller said. So you're looking at 3:15 to 3:30 thereabouts before they touch down. I'm assuming
it's 3 o'clock now.
It's 3 o'clock now, so 4:15.
Thank you. Touching down in Hope, and then obviously you have about another 15-minute drive to the current scene that they're surrounding.
And one of the possible, because you asked a great question, I think, of the sheriff, how do you account for the discrepancy between where Darion Vince supposedly said the bag was and where they've got a hit on something 12 miles away? And if he was only as specific to Quan LX saying it was the first exit, going toward Hope, the sheriff says the exit at Fulton would still kind of qualify. It's the first exit over the Red River. The first exit in that county on the road to Hope, Arkansas. That could be what he meant.
I think one of the other important things to point out, Reka and Russ, is that if in fact this turns out to be Maleah Davis, we've covered a lot of these search and recovery missions throughout the years, and oftentimes it'll be in a remote field or buried in some secluded woods or whatnot. This bag, again, it's worthy of pointing out, again, was literally just feet from the side of the road. We're talking 10 to 15 feet. The sheriff was eyeballing it. And again, here's that private plane, Tim Miller, Quanell X, flying from Rosharon, heading northeast towards Arkansas to aid in any way they can. And of course, Darian Vence talking to Quanell, and Quanell earlier saying that he was very specific in terms of location.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still some unanswered questions. Obviously, the sheriff was hesitant to make any confirmation.
They just
He
took
was
off
quick to say in this
and a flight to Arkansas to go join the search party.
Dump a dead animal. But having said that, those road crews, those litter crews, did indicate there was a foul odor coming from this bag, and so we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, with blood, and they saw blood as well
On the bag.
on that trash bag. So
This is the conclusion that not a lot of people wanted, but just one that will give a lot of people closure. Maleah Davis has been missing for a month now. She was last seen alive a month ago, and so now with these developments happening so quickly, as of this morning, that confession from Darian Vence as to where her body would be found to Quanell X, things have been moving pretty quickly.
Quanell X's briefing was a little after 11:30, as I recall. So now we're 2.5 hours into this, and now we have a full court press of local, state, and federal agents on scene around a 10 to 15 square yard crime scene just off the shoulder of I-30 in Fulton, Arkansas, which again is in Hempstead County.
Just northeast of Texarkana for our folks who are familiar with that city.
a lot of people have been asking all day, what is the connection? How does Arkansas connect to this case in Darian Vence? And he has another child in St. Louis. He obviously spent some time there, and that is how you get to St. Louis.
That's the
from
drive.
Houston. That's the drive I-30. So if he's driven that before, he's driven right by this area.
Yeah, you seem familiar with the area. Chairman Rogowski, thank you so much for that information. You're staying on top of this. You, to reiterate, you were probably one of the first news outlets to talk to Sheriff Singleton from Hempstead County, because you were the one that had to tell him about Maleah Davis and her name and the search for her.
Yeah, imagine a lazy Friday afternoon in a small town of Hope, Arkansas, Hempstead County. I saw a reporter from big city Houston calls and says, do you have any information about a missing girl who has been presumed dead now for several weeks? He, at that point, had just been contacted by Houston police. His crime scene captain was literally talking to HPD while I was talking to the sheriff. And now all of a sudden, he probably, it's safe to assume, has, if not all, a large portion of his sheriff's deputies who've been searching for any sign of this black trash bag. And again, if you're just joining us, the initial search surrounded Interstate 30 just near Hope, Arkansas, has since shifted about 12.5 miles to the southwest to the small town of Fulton, Arkansas, which is again 12 miles and a couple of exits to the southwest, as we are taking a look at the overhead map here from Google Earth.
If that black trash bag that the sheriff just told us about that was found near Fulton, if that does indeed contain the remains of Maleah Davis, how soon do you think we could see a confirmation of that?
Well, I think the first thing to confirm is, are they human remains? And this is just going from 25 years as a police reporter. First, they're obviously going to see if they're human remains, if there are obvious signs. Again, there are indications that, and I think we've got some new information coming.
Yeah, it sounds like Quanell X is on the phone. Quanell, this is Micah Motorod, Ruslus, Justin Rogalski. Can you hear us? And
Quanell X is on the phone with the news right now.
All I know I can tell you is that he told me where the body was. He told me what he did with it. He told me where he dumped it and how he dumped the body. And that he had taken it to Hope, Arkansas. And the sheriff in Hope, Arkansas has confirmed that they have found the bag that was described, and with a foul odor coming from it with blood all over the bag.
Quanell, that bag was found about 12 miles, though, from the initial place they looked, a little closer to Texarkana. It's in Fulton, but closer to Texarkana, so back a little closer to Houston. Is there any way that you can think of to account for the different location, given what Darion told you?
He told me what he did. He said it was late at night, and that he was making sure it was in the wee hours of the darkness. And so he might have been a little confused, but he was on point with the general area where he dumped Maleah's body. But he might have been a little confused to the exact point, and we talked about that. But obviously he told the truth.
I know that you are no longer representing Brittany Bowens, but have you been in touch with her about these developments, or has she called you?
She has texted me, asking me questions, and I have not responded at this moment.
What is she asking you?
Wanting me to confirm the things that he said to me and confirm what was shared with me, and had we found Maleah's body.
Has she given you any indication that she knew that it was in this area?
I have not talked to Brittany since I resigned and stepped away from that case. And as I say, she's texted me twice, yesterday and today. Day before yesterday and today, and I have not responded. And in fact, to be honest with you, I don't plan to respond. I have no desire to.
Quanell, the sheriff of Hempstead County, Arkansas, tells me that this trash bag was found about 10 to 15 feet from the side of the road. Is that consistent with what Darion does?
That's exactly what he said. I asked him, I said, did you walk deep in the area? He said, no. I got out the car. Took her out of the car, walked a few feet, and I dumped her body on the side of the road. That's exactly what he said. And in fact, when I asked him 3 consecutive times to be sure about what he was telling me, he was very crystal clear, on point, and he was very happy with what he did.
Quanell, listen, we're about to get an update here from the sheriff in Hempstead County, and we want you to stay on the phone with us if you don't mind, and you can hear along with us what the update is from Arkansas. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Okay, thanks. In the meantime, while we're waiting on that, listen, we saw you today get very emotional after you were talking about your conversation with Darion. What's different about this case for you? You've done this a lot, and this one seems to have affected you very deeply.
Because Maleah didn't have to die. That little girl did not have to die. There was too much going on inside that house that child could have been saved. That child was being physically abused and physically tortured in that house. And they were covering it up. That poor child did not have to die. It's a damn shame that her mother chose a man over her own daughter. That's what hurts me about this case. That child did not have to die.
Quanell, a lot of people feel the same way you do. We're going to stand by for a minute. We are hearing from the sheriff.
This missing child that they had down there. We were first told by them that the suspect had named a place here in Hempstead County where the child may be located. We responded to that area, searched that area for some time, and then we were notified by a interstate cleanup crew, road crew, that they may have possibly found a black garbage bag here emitting a foul odor. And that's why we're here at this particular time here at exit 18 here in Fulton. I don't want to comment on that right now. State Police Company CCID unit is on scene. They're handling the evidence, and we have 2 agents from the FBI present, and we're hoping to make some kind of determination here in the next little bit. And that's about all I have right now. I'll be back with y'all here in just a little bit to update you.
Who's the lead agency right now?
Well, we're all out here working together, Hempstead County Sheriff's Office, the Arkansas State Police, and the FBI. we all work real good together. But Company C, CID, the Arkansas State Police is handling if there's any evidence there, they're handling the collection. They're working the crime, so-called scene.
Will you go back to the April 30th?
From what we see here, probably not. I'll be back with y'all in just a little bit to give you a further update.
Any authorities from Texas coming here?
Yes, there's supposed to be some on the way from Houston. Of course, that was several hours ago. They're supposed to be flying in, so we haven't heard from them. We're trying to contact them right now. Okay? All right, guys. I'll be back with you in just a little bit.
Thanks, sir.
So, Quanell, you just heard from the Sheriff James Singleton out in Hempstead County. Were you able to pick up on that conversation?
Yes.
And what do you make of that, about finding the black trash bag?
It explains exactly what he said to me. It explains that what he said to me was the truth. And what he confessed to me, what he was honest about. That's exactly what he said about he was in. And how he felt about it.
I have a question about Darion saying that this was an accident. Can you expand on that?
No, I can't. Not right now. Not right now. But let me say this to you. He says it was an accident. But when you deliberately do something, no matter what your motive is, that's not an accident.
Well, Quanell, that was our question. Was when you said accident, we were just curious if you meant that she had an accident, like she fell, and no, he accidentally caused her death. He says
an accident is something that you don't intend to do. And Maleah did die because somebody did not intend to harm her. She died as a direct result of his willingness and his frustration and anger and hate to do what he did. That was not the first time he had physically abused that child. I know that for a fact.
you have not returned the text from Brittany Bowens, her mother, and normally I think that's something you would probably do to bring some comfort to her with what you found out, but you clearly hold her responsible for some of what's happened here.
I have to be honest with you. I'm so angry. I don't want to be out of line and inappropriate when I speak to her. But I know with my anger right now, I would say something that would be very foul, and I don't want to do that. I'd rather not do that.
But at what point?
She could have saved that child. She could have saved that child.
But at what point did you decide to no longer associate with Brittany Bowens? At what point did you say, I can no longer do this? I know that you probably have some choice words for her, but what was the turning point for you?
It was when she and I was riding one-on-one in my car, and we was talking about what she thought and believes had happened to Maleah and what she shared with me about what he had did previously. And at that point, I was done. I was just done. I couldn't take care no more.
What does she think happened to Maleah?
We'll deal with that later. But I can assure you it will be dealt with.
Well, and I heard what you said a couple days ago, and it sounds like you believe she knows what happened to Maleah, that she maybe not have participated, but that she knows.
I do not believe that she's in the dark about what happened to Maleah. I believe she absolutely, based on this man's history, this man's behavior, and what he had did to this child in the past, and because he was angry with her when she said going to the airport, and at the airport that she was giving him his ring back, she was not going to marry him, and she discovered these inappropriate sexual pictures he was sending to another man, and she would respond to his continuous phone calls and text messages that he had an anger issue. He snapped, and he took it out on Maleah, but that's not the first time he did it.
Quanell, there were other children in this home. Maleah definitely has two siblings. We know that they are not allowed to be in touch with either Brittany Bowens or Darion. But Can you tell us a little bit about the siblings, where they are, and if you know anything about suspected abuse involving them as well?
No, I don't know anything about any suspected abuse involving the other children. I know that the other children are with family, and they can have no contact with them. But I know nothing about the other children being abused.
That initial story from Darion Quanell was about the beating and the kidnapping and all that, but the 1-year-old boy was with him. Did he say anything about that 1-year-old being with him on the drive to Arkansas?
No, I didn't. He didn't tell me anything, nothing like that. That his initial story
I'm gonna
about being kidnapped and the baby
change my battery YouTube, and I'm gonna have to come right back because this is just a little bit too much. Way too much.
Between us, brother. Let's just be straight with each other. Let's not start off like you and I both. That's a bullshit story. Part my fridge. Agree. He should be saying yes, it is.
Quanell, where exactly are you? Are you in Houston?
Yes, I am.
All right. And will you be going out to Arkansas to be a part of that scene? Or are you going to be going back to see Darion?
I can't say what my next move is going to be, but I want to make sure that nobody gets away. That's the most important thing for me. From the person who dropped you off, from the person who helped cover up abuse in that house, and to Darion committing this crime against Maleah, I want to make sure that nobody gets away, and I want them to know. I'm going to make sure you don't get away.
Who dropped Darion off?
Investigators will be dealing with that at a later point. I don't want to talk about that right now.
But you think there are others involved here other than the Darion and maybe the mom?
No. I believe that somebody helped him by dropping him off at the hospital who knew what he had needed, and also helped him hide out after that, helped keep him from authorities, and had absolute knowledge of what was going on, of what he had done.
His brother?
I don't want to talk about that right now, but I've already shared it with law enforcement and with the district attorney's office and detectives.
All right. One more thing here. Lynn Cannon is coming in here, and he has a quick question for you. Again, we appreciate your time, Quanell. I know this is a tough time for you, but Lynn has a couple more questions for you here.
Sure.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Quanell, thanks for the update today. I know that's been kind of a wild ride, but I wonder, so when exactly did you, I may have missed this, talk to Darion in the jail? This morning, and how long did you talk to him?
I think we talked for maybe 30 minutes.
Was that something you requested, or did he request you to come talk to him?
I requested it.
And why did you decide to do that?
Because I knew I needed to. Because nobody had spoken to him. He had avoided everybody. He wouldn't speak to detectives. He wouldn't speak to Brittany and her family. He wouldn't speak to Maleah's father or her family. He avoided everybody. He wouldn't talk to anyone. And I had received a tip from inside the jail that he was saying that he wanted to talk to me, and that if he ever spoke to me, what he would say to me. So I made sure that happened.
Now, he told you this was an accident. Do you believe him?
No.
You think he intentionally harmed Maleah and then got rid of the body?
Absolutely. Out of anger and retaliation against Brittany.
Retaliation for her being upset about fooling around?
About the pictures, and about the pictures he was sending to another man, her accusing him of being gay, and her saying she was not going to marry him and give his ring back, and she refused to communicate with him when she left. I believe out of absolute anger, he retaliated against her, against that child, against Maleah. But that's something he had already done in the past, on more than one occasion.
Was there any kind of deal in place before today's conversation for Darion to tell you the truth about what happened?
No, what could I make a deal with? I wasn't speaking to his lawyers. I wasn't speaking to homicide about me talking to him. There was no deal. This was a man-to-man conversation that I knew if I had, I would make progress.
A lot of people were asking that on our social media pages. I want to just make that clear. And actually, the district attorney came out this afternoon and said there was no agreement in place. I just want to make sure that was your understanding as well.
They didn't even know I was going to visit him. Nobody knew that I was going activist.
You said this morning, Quanell, that it was just, your quote was, someone asked you, how did you get him to talk? You said two men talking. But I have to ask you again, how were you able to get this information when he wouldn't speak with law enforcement or anybody else? What did you do to get him to finally open up and talk about this?
This is not the first case I've solved like this. I've solved multiple cases involving missing people, missing children who've been murdered, and law enforcement and the FBI could not get anything out of these suspects. And when they speak to me, I'm able to get confessions when nobody else can. This is not the first.
You're killing me.
There's no doubt you're good at this. I'm just curious how you do it.
That's between God and I. That's between God and I.
Hey, Quanell, I wanted to know, so the reward for information finding Maleah is $27,500, I believe. Do you qualify for the award now?
No, as a community activist, you don't get reward money from Crime Stoppers. That's been a standing policy for over 20 years from Crime Stoppers. You're not eligible as a community activist, advocate, etc., to receive a reward from Crime Stoppers. So
plus, he got everybody else money that he robbed. So you know how that goes. You don't need no money. He's good.
Police chief, if they were interested in talking to Brittany and if she would be implicated in any way in the disappearance of Maleah, do you think she should be charged?
Charged with what?
I don't know. You tell me. Hindering prosecution, obstruction. I don't know.
No, I don't think she obstructed anything, and I don't believe that she should be charged with a frivolous charge.
Mm-hmm.
But I absolutely believe that Brittany has to be held accountable for what happened inside that house on her watch.
Okay, but how? Held accountable how?
Well, remember, I'm not the district attorney. I don't determine what charges are.
Mm-hmm.
That's for them to determine. But I assure you, she's complicit in what happened here.
I know you have been in circumstances like this a lot over the years. Is there something, were you surprised that Brittany was involved in some way, covering up abuse, etc., or have you seen this before?
This is the first time I've ever seen a mother who actually knew in one of these cases I've worked that her child was being physically abused to the point to where the child needed to go to the hospital, to the emergency room. And the child was never taken to protect the man. This is the first time I've ever dealt with one exactly like that.
Have you talked to Brittany at all since you stopped representing her?
No.
Have you talked to her today?
No, I've not returned her.
Damn, y'all.
She sent me asking me to talk to her.
I gotta change my battery.
To speak to you?
She sent me a message asking me to talk to her today and day before yesterday, and I refused to do it. I really don't have anything to say to it. The goal was two things: find Maleah and find out what happened. And I absolutely believe I know what happened, and we have found Maleah.
Well, so we're still waiting for confirmation on that. Do you think this case, did you think it would be solved?
Did I think it would be solved?
Yes. Once you got involved.
I knew I would be able to get things that investigators were not able to get. I knew that I would be able to get information, but I did not think it was going to turn out the way this has turned out, because I didn't expect to find out certain things that I found out about what was going on in the home. But I always knew one thing, and I believe this, that if I ever had a chance to sit down with Darian one-on-one, just him and I, that I would find out what happened to Maleah and where she was. I never doubted that. If I could just speak to him, I would find out.
I have to tell you, this story has captured the interest of the nation. As we look at our social media pages, our digital pages here at KHOU, people from all over the world actually are asking about this story. Why do you think this particular missing child case has become of such interest to people all over? Is there something that you think resonates more than, unfortunately, the thousands of other children who go missing each year?
I think because Maleah, the beautiful innocence of Maleah, that beautiful picture